speaking loud, so let me know if you can't hear me.
You're good.
Good, okay. So this is the official declaration of the occupation of New York City. As we gather together in solidarity to express a feeling of mass injustice, we must not lose sight of what brought us together. We write so that all people who feel wronged by the corporate forces of the world can know that we are your allies. As one people united, we acknowledge the reality that the future of the human race requires the cooperation of its members, that our system must protect our rights, and upon corruption of that system, it is up to the individuals to protect their own rights and those of their neighbors, that a democratic government derives its just power from the people, but corporations do not seek consent to extract wealth from the people and the earth, and that no true democracy is attainable when the process is determined by economic power. We come to you at a time when corporations would place profit over people, self-interest over justice, and oppression over equality run our government. We have peaceably assembled here, as it is our right, to let these facts be known. They have taken our houses through an illegal foreclosure process despite not having the original mortgage. They have taken bailouts from taxpayers with impunity and continue to give executives exorbitant bonuses. They have perpetuated inequality and discrimination in the workplace based on age, the color of one's skin, sex, gender identity, and sexual orientation. They have poisoned the food supply through negligence and undermined the farming system through monopolization. They have profited off the torture, confinement, and cruel treatment of countless non-human animals and actively hide these practices. They have continually sought to strip employees of the right to negotiate for better pay and safer working conditions. They have held students hostage with tens of thousands of dollars of debt on education, which itself is a human right. They have consistently outsourced labor and used that outsourcing as leverage to cut workers' health care and pay. They have influenced the courts to achieve the same rights as people with none of the culpability or responsibility. They have spent millions of dollars on legal teams that look for ways to get them out of contracts in regards to health insurance. They have sold our privacy as a commodity. They have used the military and police force to prevent freedom of the press. They have deliberately declined to recall faulty products, endangering lives in pursuit of profit. They determine economic policy despite the catastrophic failures their policies have produced and continue to produce. They have donated large sums of money to politicians supposed to be regulating them. They continue to block alternative forms of energy to keep us dependent on oil. They continue to block generic forms of medicine that could save people's lives in order to protect investments that have already turned a substantive profit. They have purposely covered up oil spills, accidents, faulty bookkeeping, and inactive ingredients in pursuit of profit. They purposely keep people misinformed and fearful through their control of the media. They have accepted private contracts to murder prisoners even when presented with serious doubts about their guilt. They have perpetuated colonialism at home and abroad. They have participated in the torture and murder of innocent civilians overseas. They continue to create weapons of mass destruction in order to receive government contracts. To the people of the world, we, the New York City General Assembly, and we, this Occupy Santa Cruz General Assembly, occupying Wall Street and Liberty Square, occupying Santa Cruz right here, we urge you to assert your power. Exercise your right to peaceably assemble, occupy public space, create a process to address the problems we face, and generate solutions accessible to everyone. To all communities that take action and form groups in the spirit of direct democracy, we offer support, documentation on all of the resources at our disposal. Join us and make your voices heard. rundown of a sort of general structure for this meeting. Basically, we're going to have speakers that are going to speak for 5 to 10 minutes each. We're going to have a speaker talk about what can you do to fix the economy, 3 messages for Washington and 3 local actions. We're going to have another speaker, how to stand empowered and have greater influence in protest. Another speaker on the consensus process. Another speaker on local actions and the greater movement growth. And then we're going to have some time for discussion and comments. And then we're going to talk about and move forward with setting goals, discussing laws, and setting up committees. The process that we're using here is based on the General Assembly process that's been handed down to us from Occupy Wall Street. So I'm going to read a little description of a General Assembly. In a General Assembly, everyone's voice is equal. Anyone is free to propose an idea or express an opinion as a part of the General Assembly. Each proposal follows the same basic format. An individual shares what is being proposed, why it is being proposed, and if there's enough agreement, how it can be carried out. The Assembly will express its opinion for each proposal through a series of hand gestures. If there is a positive consensus for a proposal, which would be shown by doing this would be positive consensus, meaning no outright opposition, then the proposal is accepted and direct action begins. If there is not consensus, the responsible group or individual is asked to revise the proposal and submit it again at the General Assembly until a majority consensus is achieved. And so basically in the General Assembly, what's worked out is like the larger sort of goals, the locations and the schedules of the General Assemblies, of marches and rallies and occupations and things like that. And then committees are established to work out the details in smaller working groups so that people can have a chance in a small group to express their opinion and influence things that they really care about how happen. And some examples of working groups might be media, legal, outreach, food, money, direct action, music, art, medical, cleanup, and setup. And so the smaller groups can define the key points and then bring them back to the General Assembly for consensus by everyone.